Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. For those of you new here, my name is Donna, and for those of you not new, thank you so much for continuing to come back and support my channel. I appreciate all of you so very much. I'm gonna make sure I didn't have lipstick on my teeth. Hi. Welcome back to another episode of Palette Roulette, in which I let an app choose a palette that I utilize throughout the week. I come up with some looks, I share with you those looks, I share some swatches, I share with you my thoughts, give you a little bit of a palette review, and then we go from there picking a new palette, and the process continues. Just keeps on going and going. Today I am doing Palette Roulette number 92, and we are going to be talking about the Winky Lux Kitten Palette. This did come in my Boxy Charm in November, I believe, 2017. Yes, and I immediately fell in love with this palette. The color story was beautiful. It had this really cute motif to it. So I was really anxious to pick it up in this Palette Roulette and see if I still loved it. I do have a friend that also did a Palette Roulette on this not that long ago, so I will link her information down in the description box. She definitely has a different take on this palette than I do, and I think it's important for us to hear all sides of the spectrum, so there's that. This is the Winky Lux Kitten Palette. This is what the palette looks like. It does have a real pale pink background with some purple and kind of like red toned flowers and little kittens on it, and I thought it was just so cute. The back of the palette does look like this. It does show you the color scheme in the palette. It does also have all the information here in regards to like cruelty-free status and whatnot, and then it does have also all of the ingredients for the palette, and this one does list every single shade out for you. This is a cardboard packaging with a nice magnetic closure. It does have a pretty good magnet on it. I do think that it would be great for travel, and the color scheme inside is also great for travel. You have a little bit of everything. The inside flap of the palette does not have a mirror on it, so this is how they cut costs on things like this. And then this is the color scheme of the palette. I do have every single color in this palette except for this gold one on my eyes today. I really can't say enough about this color scheme. I really do think it's pretty perfect. This whole top row here is wonderful for, you know, lighter skin tone, transition, brow bone, and then a little inner corner highlight moment for you. If you like a light pink, kind of like shimmery, but not really shimmery brow bone, this is also going to be great for you. I have worn it in my brow bone in the past, and I am currently wearing it in conjunction with this shade here, also in my brow bone. This center section here is all that you need for a good pop on the lid. I think that you've got your duochrome, a nice blue, and a gold. And then this last row here, you have a darker transition shade if you need like a deeper, not so ashy transition. And then or like outer V, and then we also have outer V. So today I do have, like I said, all these different colors in my eye look except for this one here. What I will say is that this duochrome here and this shadow right here are on my lid space, so this one is all over the lid, of course, and then this one here is just kind of pushed into like the outer like 2/3 of my space here. This one layered on top of that, this one layered on top of that one, and then I used this color as a transition. This shade here is a brow bone, like just buffing out the brow bone, and then these two together as a brow bone shade. And I do have this one on my lower lash line in conjunction with this one as well, and a beautiful blue eyeliner. I actually pulled this inspiration for this look for Miss Becca Boo here on YouTube, but also I follow her on Instagram. She is amazing. She does more style content right now than she does makeup, to be honest, but I just love her style. I dig her so much. This is the look that she did when she first got this palette in 2017 on her YouTube channel. So I thought I would try and mimic the look. I think hers turned out probably much better. She has beautiful eye shapes, so my wonky eye over here just wants to like water and mess it all up, so whatever. I had a good time with this palette. There are 9 shades in this palette. 4 of them are matte. There are going to be these 2 and these 2 here. The rest of them have some kind of like satiny or shimmery property in their formulation, which is totally fine. I think that the ones that they chose to be mattes were great mattes for this palette. This one is more of a satin. This one's kind of a satin as well. This is definitely a shimmer. This one is a shimmer, but I say that lightly because there's no glitter in them whatsoever. And then this one is a really pretty like duochrome moment. Oh God, it's so pretty. It shifts from like pink to blue and it's just beautiful, and I will swatch these for you, don't you worry. I feel like it's got a good combination of mattes to shimmers, and like I said, I do feel like the matte colors that they chose to be in this palette are pretty perfect for it. It is inspired by cats. Almost everything that Winky Lux has as far as palettes go is inspired by cats. We have the Mermaid Kitten Palette, we have the Latte Kitten Palette, we have the Coffee Kitten Palette, or something along those lines. I'm a fan of Winky Lux. I really do like them. Everything that I've tried from them has been pretty spot on. I do remember there being some inconsistencies with their Mermaid Kitten palette that I also own, and I will go ahead and link that Palette Roulette up in the cards for you guys just for ease of use. I mean, I do have my whole Palette Roulette playlist down in my description box, but for ease of finding it, I'll link the Mermaid Kitten one up here for you so you guys can see. I do remember there being like a couple of things that I just wasn't super happy about in the Mermaid Kitten palette. I know that it only had 2 mattes in it. It was also a 9-pan palette, so that meant 9 of the shades in that palette were a shimmer or a satin or a foil of some sort. And I do like a little bit more of a good mix of mattes and shimmers because I don't use all shimmers and I don't use all mattes on my eyes. I do need a little bit of everything. So I didn't like it so much for that. I know that it did have some really great shadows in it, but I also know that there wasn't a whole lot of variation with that palette. I felt like I was using the same shadow every single day for certain parts of my eye looks, and I like to be a little bit more variant. With this one, I feel like you could get a lot more variant if you wanted to. Like this one or this one could be brow bone shade. This one or this one could be transition shade. I also use this one I think a time or two as a transition shade as well. They go on very pigmented and don't take much to actually buff them out and get them into, you know, a lighter transition-y shade if that is what you're looking for. I did a couple of like 1 or 2 color eye looks that looked fantastic. I think I maybe only have 1 of those in pictures for you. I had a great time with this palette. It had little to no fallout. As a matter of fact, I would say no fallout because I didn't notice any fallout with this palette. I wasn't wiping away anything after utilizing this palette. It didn't matter what kind of brush I was using. It performed just as well with a primer as it did without a primer, which I can appreciate because some mornings I don't have time to sit there and let my primer, you know, do everything it needs to on the eye. And granted, I understand it's only 30 seconds, but sometimes I just forget because I'm in such a hurry. I know that there are a couple of days over this last week when I was utilizing this palette that I did forget an eye primer, and I felt like it maybe took away from the longevity of the shades by like maybe an hour or two before I saw much fading, but I feel like that would be the same for any other palette that I was using, even with a primer. I'm not saying Winky Lux has the most impeccable formula. I don't think that it does, but it is just an easy formula to use. There is a lot of building up that you have to do sometimes to get certain shades to look right on your eyes, and even this duochrome shade that's across my lid today, I did have to go over it a couple times, and then it got to looking a little bit chunky, so then I had to buff it out a little bit better. But really that says more about me and my application than it says about the shadow itself. I really do feel like it's a great palette. It has an amazing amount of pigmentation. I do like the Winky Lux formula. I haven't had much of a problem with many of their shades. As a matter of fact, I used to have a highlighting balm from them that I think was the first highlighter I ever used up entirely. Granted, it was just a little single pan, but a little tiny pan. It was like a sample size pan, but I used that highlighting balm so much, and it was my first experience with a cream highlighter. I loved it. It made me want to purchase more cream highlights, and I have a ton more cream highlights now that I hardly ever use because I just liked that one so much, and the other ones just don't compare. I know that it is a lesser price point, so it's a more affordable option for a lot of people. Not as affordable as, say, a ColourPop 9 pan, but definitely more affordable than, say, a MAC 9 pan. This, I couldn't find this for sale anywhere. Like I said, this was a Boxy Charm palette, and on the actual palette, it does say Winky Lux Kitten Boxy Charm. So I'm not really sure. I think it was for sale at one point in time, but if it is no longer for sale. I know that you can purchase it on, say, eBay or Poshmark or whatnot for like $15, $16, and that puts it into that ColourPop realm for you if you were wanting it. Because I couldn't find it on sale, I couldn't also find a star rating for it except for the one on Google, which was 4.6, and I have to agree. I think that that's probably pretty accurate for this palette. It does have, like I said, the 9 shades. There are 0.45 ounces of product in this palette. That means that each one of these shades is 0.05 ounces of product, and that's pretty regular for a single eyeshadow pan that you might pick up at ColourPop or Nabla or Sydney Grace. So there's that. I don't think it's a horrible price. $25 full price, or what you can get at $15, $16 now, is pretty amazing for these 9 pans of shadow. And this has been in my collection since 2017. I used to use the poop out of it. There's quite a dip in this shadow, and this one. Also a little tiny dip in this one, but it still performs amazingly. Like I said, all of the shadows in this palette are on my eyes today, and I know that it didn't take me very long to get this shadow on my eyes. It was just the meticulous pieces with the eyeliner, the whatnot. So it's my first time using my little gel eyeliner pot from Pretty Vulgar that I've had for 800 years as well, and I loved it. I loved the application of it. I love being able to get those bat wings in there just so, and that's what took me the longest time getting this eye look done. I have to be honest, it was so easy to use. It was super buildable as far as color goes. Like I said in the beginning, if I wanted to sheer it out, I could, but I could also deepen a look up just by, you know, patting it on. It didn't tend to get cakey unless it was going over the top of like a concealer for that cut crease or whatever. It also worked well with other shadows from different palettes, so I maybe pulled in a single, or I know I utilized my Wander Beauty single for purposes of my Simply Sample series a couple times, and it worked well with that shadow, which sometimes you don't find to be true with more affordable brands of makeup. Sometimes they don't like to work well with each other, let alone other brands of makeup. While I said it was versatile in the beginning, I think that it is versatile. I stand by that. But I think it's more versatile as a daytime palette than it is as a nighttime palette. Really the only like dark sultry looks you're gonna find in here are these three here. This one tends to go on a little more pale than what it appears in the pan here. It's beautiful, but this took a lot of packing on to get it the color that I wanted to get it. So I would say it's more versatile as a daytime look, so a work appropriate palette for those of you who are interested in that. I think that it lasted a good 12 hours on my eyes before I really started to see some fading. That's with primer, and like I said again earlier, it does tend to last a little less long when you're not using primer. They go on well, they perform well, but I would say I noticed fading a little earlier, maybe at that 10-hour mark versus that 12-hour mark for these. I am a person who gets up, and if I'm going to be doing my makeup is on my face by 7 a.m. and then I don't take it off until 11 p.m. It does have a 12-month shelf life, so says the back. It is also a cruelty-free company. Winky Lux is always cruelty-free, always paraben-free, always gluten-free, so there's that. With that being said, I am going to swatch this palette for you. We are going to start down here. I'm going to go this row first, then the middle, then this one. These shades in the pan are really super soft and buttery. Like, they just glide on so easily. My hand is dry. This is the brown shade in the palette. This one is Boots. This one is Cheshire. And then we have this one, which is Romeo. Have a nice deep matte dark brown. It's more on the neutral side. Then you have a beautiful matte like burgundy shade, and then we have like this satin-esque burgundy shade as well that can lean a little bit more orange or pink depending on the eye look you put it in. I thought it was interesting. Alright, then you have Cat Eye, which is the gold like foiled color with a little bit of a copper feel to it. Then we have Nine Lives, which is the blue. You guys can see that doesn't swatch super well. I do find that this one has to be packed on a little bit more. It's kind of like a steely blue shade. And then this one is holographic, and it is our duotone shade in the palette. It kind of has this like green pink shift to it, which I loved because it does tend to follow suit with whichever eye look it's in. And that blue one really does look better. It is what it is on my lower lash line today, and I feel like it performs really well in small doses. I think I had a picture of it in like a halo eye at one point in time over the last week, and it was really pretty then too, but I really do think that it's a shadow that you have to go in with more precision with this color because it really is better and more pigmented in the smaller doses. It is also the only shadow in the palette that kind of feels a little bit grippy in the pan. Then we have the top row, and this one is Strut. This is a nice like really peachy toned transition. Then we have this one, which is Duchess, and it is just a nice beige cream tone shadow. Both of those are mattes. And then we have this one here, which is called Purr, and it's kind of got this like sheeniness to it. I think it's supposed to be a shimmer maybe, but leans much more towards like the satin in the feel of the shadow. All right, so those are the first row. Well, last row that I'm swatching, first row in the palette. I just think they're truly beautiful shades, and I think that I'm trying to be really delicate about this because, you know, my friend did hers and had a horrible time with this palette, and I remember her sending me a message on Instagram asking me if I ever had a palette that just didn't work no matter what you did with it. And I said, yeah, why? Which palette are you working on? And she said, the Winky Lux Kitten Palette. And I remember my heart just dying just a little bit, because this used to be one of my favorite palettes. If you go way back in my, well, if you go back to the month that I received this on Boxy Lux and then a couple months thereafter, I think it was in my favorites every single month. It was a palette that I used almost every single day, and I really feel like that can be what this palette is used for. But she just had the roughest time with this palette. And I think it's just about like what you're looking for in a palette and how much time you're giving yourself to put in to it. But also there are palettes out there that there are some doozies out there. There are palettes that, you know, in the same line that are amazing, and then others that are not. And I wonder also, what am I doing wrong? Right? But I just don't think that that's the case always. Sometimes it literally is about the palette. I had a good time with this palette. I would definitely, if you could purchase it, I would definitely say purchase it. Like I said, you can find it on Mercari and Poshmark. I know that a lot of people have it because it did come in a Boxy Charm, and therefore there's a lot out there for sale, because this isn't just everybody's cup of tea. Honestly, this color story is not my favorite color story anymore. I'm more of a color girl, but I do love the palette. I don't have anything bad to say about it. It will stay in my collection until it no longer performs like this. But yeah. All right, guys, I am gonna go get ready to, I'm gonna make sure my app is up to date, because I am horrible at updating this app. So I'm going to make sure my app is up to date. For those of you curious and don't know, I do use an app that I picked up out of my Play Store. I do have a Samsung Note 9, and the app that I use is called the Decide Now app. It's just a decision wheel app. I put everything I wanted to choose from into this wheel, and then when I go to choose palette, I have the functions to spin the wheel, and it spins and it chooses a random palette. I do take out the palettes as we use them. I also put palettes in as I get new ones into my collection. I know I just brought some new ones in. I just want to make sure that all the new ones are in there and some of the old ones are out. We have had a couple weeks now where I've accidentally picked a palette that we've used because I forgot to take it out. So I'm just going to go update my app real quick. I'll be right back. Okay, I think that I've got all the new ones in here. So this is what my Decide Now app looks like. With this wheel, I just put all of my palettes into the wheel, and then to put new palettes in, I just put them in. As we use them, I take them out. And to spin it, we just hit this button right here. This is the NYX Ultimate Brights, which is fantastic because, yep, it's going to be fun. Oh, I'm gonna go get that palette. I'll be right back. All right, guys. So this is the NYX Ultimate Brights palette. I have to be honest. I purchased this because I have a friend here on YouTube. Her name is Veronica XO. XOXO, something like that. I don't know. I'll link her down in the description box. She does these intricate eye looks and like murals all over her body. And she used to use this NYX Ultimate Brights palette all the dang time. I bought it years ago, probably 2 years ago, and have not ever used it. So with that being said, I am super excited to bring this out and get some use out of it. I love that it's got some really pretty, like really pretty bright shades, but it's also got some pops of like lighter tones. I think this yellow, this green, this pink, this purple here, this one even here come to mind with those lighter tones. I think that this is going to be an awesome palette to utilize over the next week. What I will say though is it doesn't look like there's much for... I see a couple of shadows that have a little bit of like sparkle to them, but not like shimmer. Does that make sense? It does look like we have some glitter in here, but I'm not sure if they're shimmery. So just because of the color story of this palette alone, I am going to incorporate some of my like transition-y toned single shades, and I might also have to add in some like lid sparkle as well, but we will see. We will see. I haven't used this. I'm trying to judge it before I even open it up and dip my fingers into it. I really am excited that I get to use this finally. Here's the great thing about this palette too, is there are 16 shades in here, and I think this guy was like, at the time, like $16. I think it's now 20 or something like that, but 16 shades for $1 a piece. Come on. That's amazing. What I am a little bit scared about is I have used a couple other NYX palettes in the past, and I'm not a super fan of their shadow formula, so we will see if this one is better. I'm pretty excited about that, so I hope that you guys are as well. I hope that if you are excited about it, that you are considering subscribing to my channel and hitting that notification bell. It will notify you every single time I upload a video, and I wouldn't want you to miss anything. I also hope that you like this video enough that you're considering giving it a big thumbs up. I hope that you liked it, or me, enough that we have talked you into hitting that thumbs up button. And if not, that's okay too. Just let me know down in the comments section what I can improve upon. I would love to improve always. I'm always here to make this entertaining for you, and please leave me some feedback. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I appreciate you guys being along for this crazy midlife crisis of mine, and I would love to hear from you guys in the comments section. Like, what palette are you using this week? Talk to me down in the comments section, you guys. I enjoy hearing from you, and I always read every single one of my comments, and I also am still in the realm of being able to respond to every single one of my comments. So please do leave me a comment down there. I would love to hear from you. Please stay safe out there, you guys. Please wear your masks. We're never going to get out of this if we don't start wearing our masks. Keep washing your hands. Stay safe. Stay clean. Stay sanitized. Wear your mask. Love each other, but love each other from afar. And until next time, guys, bye.
Let's talk about this right here. This has been present in a couple of my videos, and y'all are probably wondering what the hell is going on. But I was in the shower the other day, and you guys know that I have elected to have my hair washed in the salon from now on. Part of that is because I have too many different colors in my hair to really manage it with a color depositing shampoo. So I put my hair up in a shower cap when I get into the shower. Well, this little piece sticks through, always. But with that being said, it also sticks through the headband when I'm doing my skincare, and my cleanser is eating away at the color right there. So I thought I was going to be super smart, and I grabbed my conditioner that I thought was purple, and I put it on that section of my hair outside of the thing that makes me look like a mushroom, the shower cap, and I left it on while I was showering, and then I just kind of rinsed it off right before I got out. I got out, started drying off, got to my face, looked in the mirror, and saw this red, and I'm like, oh no. My conditioner is all stepped up in an order, and I had grabbed the second bottle thinking that it was purple, but the second bottle was actually my red, because I moved the purple back into the front. Yeah, so now I have red right here at the roots, and it's gotta be okay with me. It'll come out. It'll come out, I'm not worried about it, but this was about 10 minutes of conditioner on my head, and it's just, yep, there's that.